Dear Rubeus Hagrid, when I was a kid and when I used to come back from my school, let's say in class 5 and class 6, just 4 to 5 days before summer vacation. So ideally, the days used to vary from school to school. So like for a few schools, it used to be a week ahead, and a few schools, it used to be a school behind. So however, the general period was the same when the temperatures were scorching hot and we were all sweltering like pigs. It was like the school used to be very kind. It's like, okay, just be home, just don't bother us at the moment. So the last 3 to 4 days when the variants were still there, Pogo, there's this channel called Pogo. It used to telecast the then released parts of Harry Potter. So mainly the first two parts. That's the Philosopher's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets. So, these first two parts, like being 29 right now, I'm still a big fan of these two parts. Not because of the story they narrated. Well, of course, I mean, they are a legend altogether of a different kind, but it introduced me to a world that for others may be fiction, but for me, it was an escape from reality. But for me, it was a place where I can run to at any point in time and just hide myself. I mean, loners have their getaways, right? So yeah, it was just one of those getaways, and it still is. Believe me, it still is. But for the first time, when you came to rescue Harry from the Dursleys, I was actually intrigued. I mean, I don't know what people think of that scene, but for me, a giant storming through the gates and pulling off all the heroics that he could, for me that scene was epic, and it would always remain in my heart. Oh, by the way, you baked that cake, you remember? I'm coming to that later. I should. So honestly speaking, those days in the summer vacation when I used to come back from my school and just switch on the TV and see those two Harry Potter movies going on at its full swing, it used to fill me with love. And you were one of those initial characters who made appearances and left an everlasting impact. Not everyone can do that, Rubeus. Honestly, being a kid back then and even now, more than the stories that the book had to narrate, somehow I was weirdly attracted by the stories that those bricks in Diagon Alley had to say when you tapped them for the first time. I mean, I was awed. I was like, okay, what was going on? And then eventually I figured out that that's just a machination of being human. I mean, it's just a metaphorical version. Like, people don't understand that probably, but it isn't magic. It's just physics, but Hogwarts physics. So it's like they have their own way of bending and twisting the rule of physics, and you gave us the initial glimpse of the same. I mean, I know, of course, Dumbledore and McGonagall were the first ones to show about bringing the lights off, but I really loved Diagon Alley a lot more because it gave out the true essence that laid down the marker for what was about to come. Thank you, Hagrid, for showing us that a beautiful destination can be hidden in plain sight, only if we are observant enough to see it. There are multiple wizards and witches that basked in the immortality of Hogwarts. I mean, all those legends, all those myths, all those epics that were told by Hogwarts, and all the great war and battles, Voldemort, Harry, Dumbledore, Snape. Out of all of them, if one man truly remained loyal to Hogwarts, it had to be you. I mean, undoubtedly it had to be you. Like, you were that one man who portrayed that one emotion throughout this story and stayed true to the narrative till the very end. Even when tormented by Voldemort, you didn't give up, Harry. Even when you're about to lose everything, you stood tall. You defended all the dear ones you loved. How did you do that, Hagrid? How can an individual go through all that pain and yet stand tall? How, Rubeus? Teach me, please. Being honest till this day. So just to give you a context of this place, there's this wonderful cake place, or rather this heritage cake place in my city. So I'm from Kolkata, and There's this place called Nahum. So it was found way back, and it still serves the best cake in the city. When I went to Nahum's for the first time, I saw a cake that was kind of a replica of what you baked for Harry, and it instantly got my eye. And every single 24th of December, I categorically visit Nahum's, and I do ensure that I'm having that cake. People say that I have a great taste in cakes because I introduced them to that, but I know what's the truth behind it. I loved that cake because Hagrid baked it for Harry. I don't have an Hagrid for sure, but I mean, is there any bound to your world of imaginations? I'll be honest, Hagrid. You know, when Snape left, the world felt lonely. But now that you are gone, honestly, the world feels lonelier. I wanted to know so much about you, Hagrid. I really wanted to. I wish that I'd have had the fortune of having a audience with you in person, but not all wishes are fulfilled, right? It's okay, no problem, but I would still cherish every bit of you. Hagrid, I really, I was always intrigued by the question, or I still have this question actually. Who is that one woman for whom you took a vow of never loving someone again? Or let's say, who is that one woman or man? Like, there may be someone, right? Whose was that one hand that you always wanted to hold, and when the world fell, the Dumbledore had actually set up Harry for a lamb for slaughter, like a lamb for slaughter. And the world, and in fact, Snape scorned him, and he wasn't really approving of the fact, but how did you choose to defend Hagrid? I mean, how did you choose to defend Dumbledore? It's a rare quality, right? When people say that, yeah, of course, like if you go by the story arc, why would Harry be set up at the end of it all? Just so that final Horcrux can be destroyed, right? I guess you knew it all. And yet you stood by Dumbledore as if you were defending your own father. Hagrid, what were you made of? What were you made of? You probably you are that replica of, like the words these days social media has to say, that you stand by someone no matter what, and none of them carries it out. Believe me, they don't, but you did. Well, Rubeus Hagrid, you will always be a mystery to me. Oh, I'm just running short of words now. I'll just say a few more words. These days, dragons, they are pretty famous. Well, for me, before all the dragons that Westeros could conjure and entangle them in a pirouette of death, I was scared when your beard caught fire. I mean, Hagrid, come on, and the calm you had on your face. Like, I swear, forget a dragon. I run away from a lizard. If you were there, you probably would have taught me how to pet them as well. Come on, Hagrid, come back one more time. Teach us all, please. And I was afraid of a hippogriff. And somehow I so desperately wanted you to introduce me to Buckbeak and just ride him for once. Wave my arms across the dilated fabric of the great river, which is where there's all calm, and just scream for once. But you left too soon, Hagrid. Hagrid, Hogwarts, to be honest, was never the magic that those bonds created. It was always its people. And you, out of all, Rubeus, you were the founding brick that no one could ever rattle. These are my last words to you. May you find love, Rubeus, when the heaven welcomes you. May you find everyone who left while you bore the burden of survival. May you find answers to all your questions. May you find Hogwarts. Rest in chaos, Rubeus Hagrid.